Doug NPA back with another video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on the way in. I really appreciate it. It shows that you support me and the content on this channel. So International Women's Day was a couple of days ago. We all know how that day goes, guys. You see all the delusional foolishness about women are independent, women are strong, single mothers are strong, blah, blah, blah. But amongst all that foolishness, I dug around and I found this article. It says Gen Z millennials think women's rights have gone too far according to the new survey. This company called Ipsos, they did a multinational study and it showed that young people are waking up. Over half of Gen Z and half of millennials think that the current women's rights movement has gone too far and that the women's rights movement in the West is actively discriminating against men. So we're going to go into this article. It's kind of long, but we'll just get to the juicy parts, okay? It says a surprising number of people in younger generations believe that women's rights have gone too far, with a new survey revealing gender equality progress could be at risk of stalling. New research conducted by Ipsos UK and the Global Institute for Women's Leadership at King's College London found that over half of people in younger generations believe the push for equality is now negatively impacting men and that they are being expected to do too much to support progress. That is 100% true. Men aren't going to school anymore. Men aren't um, they're not playing the game for relationships and marriage. They're just checking out. And then you have a lot of women who don't want to be these boss independent women that are out here by themselves, like their aunts and a lot of their mothers and stuff. The younger generation is waking up. It says the survey collated responses from more than 22,000 people aged 16 to 74 across 32 countries, including approximately 1,000 people from Australia. Oh, this is an Australian. This is the Daily Telegraph in Australia. According to the results, 52% of Gen Z and 53% of millennials agree that we have gone so far in promoting women's equality that we are discriminated against men. These young people are going to change the world and set everything right. This is giving me a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism. Doug MPA doesn't have a lot of that nowadays. This is compared to 46% of Gen X and 40% of baby boomers. In fact, many of the questions show that younger generations were less supportive of efforts to advance gender equality than boomers. For Australia, 51% strongly or somewhat agree with the above statement, compared to 41% who disagree, with 60% of those who agreed are men. Of course they would. Australia, I wonder what's worse, Australia or Canada, when it comes to super feminist women's movement craziness. If you're listening to this video and you're from Canada or Australia, give us Americans, paint a picture for us in the comment section. All right. When it came to the claim that things have gone far enough in giving women equal rights with men, 55% of Gen Z and 57% of millennials agreed. This is compared to 53% of Gen X and 47% of boomers. There were more Australians who disagreed with this comment than agreed, but a higher percentage of men agreed over women. The majority of Gen Z, millennial, and Gen X respondents who agreed that men are expected to do too much to support equality, with 55, 57, and 54% respectively. Guys, you see my workplace, my men and women in the workplace video series. Look at everything that men are expected to do to accommodate women in the workplace because of the whole M2 thing. It's too much. And then I want you to think about dating. I want you to think about the crazy rules that Canada and Australia have about not staring at women on the subway, not staring at women in clubs. Guys, just stay home and play video games. It says, however, less than half of boomers agreed with this statement. For Australia, 42% somewhat or strongly agreed, and 46% somewhat or strongly disagreed. When breaking the results down further, it was revealed 50% of Australian men agree with the statement compared to 36% of women. The report noted that the results pointed to warnings of a reaction to the movement for greater equality and that progress on gender equality remains at risk of stalling. Here's the thing. So, if you guys don't know, there's a difference between women's rights, because that's what this survey was about. It wasn't about feminism, it was about women's rights. Women's rights are addressing women's issues only to close the achievement gap and the pay gap and all the different gaps between men and women. And in Western countries, there have been laws and policies that have directly addressed women at the detriment of men. Now, feminism is supposed to be addressing inequalities for men and women so both genders are equal. That's how it started, at least. We know it's not like that now. It says, compared with pre the bug, more people think things have gone far enough, and more people think men are being asked to do too much. Half also believe that steps towards women equality are leading to discrimination against men, and more broadly, there's a slightly less confidence that life today is better for young men than it is for young women. E- Being a young man has never been tougher, in my opinion. Women have it a lot easier than men. You can disagree with me if you want, but our current society does nothing but favor women, and men have a hard road, which is why a lot of men are just choosing not to play the game. And it's going to be interesting in 10, 15 years when you have a society with not enough men, you know, contributing. But that's what women ask for, so they're going to find out. And in another surprise result, Gen Z and millennials were the generation that most believe the father who stays at home to look after his children is less of a man, with 30% of both groups agreeing with that statement. Do I even have to talk about that one? Imagine you're in a club and you walk up to a girl and she asks you, you ask her name, she asks your name, and let's say you got a degree or something and you're a guy and you're starting off in your career, and she asks you what you want to do in 5 years, and you say to her, I want to be a house husband. See how fast she walks away from you. On this channel, I always say social constructs have not caught up to biological realities. Women still get that biological ick from a man that wants to be a house husband. I don't write the rules around here. It's just the game. Because that went down to 22% for Gen X and reduced even further to 14% for boomers. We break down when we break that down to the Australian responses, 76% disagree with more men agreeing with the statement than women. Former Australian Prime Minister, whoever this person is, she says something about how high profile examples of this M word that we all like. She says there are worrying signs from research that shows views are not only gaining ground among the public but also deterring people from advocating for women's rights. No one should be afraid to promote equality, and we need to do much better in supporting people to call out injustice wherever they see it. Yeah, well, what about the injustice against men? Guys, I want you to Google all of the crazy rules and laws against men in Australia. I don't know how guys do it down there. If you're from Australia, put in the comment section some of your experience with some of these current policies, please. Because I'm an American, I'm on the outside looking in, and Australia does not look like a place I would want to move to as a successful man long term. It says, yet we mustn't be complacent that it's younger generations who are most likely to say a man who stays at home to look after his children is less of a man is a disturbing reminder. There's so much more work to do, and that future progress is not guaranteed. We're gonna we're gonna stop this here because this just goes into more percentages. But guys, tell me what you think, because I think the women's room movement went too far 10 years ago. Actually, you know what? The breaking point was the whole M2 thing in 2015. And I think that the women's rights movement is kind of like the Germans in World War II, how they had to keep the conflict going to keep their economy going, which is why they attacked Russia. The women's rights movement, they have to have conflict. They have to. They have to find something to complain about. They have to attack something. And so they're just going to keep making stuff up, keep passing these crazy laws, and keep finding things to whine and complain about. But they're going to run out of stuff. It's going to go too far, and just men are just going to keep checking out. So let me know if you saw this article, what you think about it. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.